Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. My name is Basil.
I'm Baz.
And we are recording Friday, January 19th, 2024. Look what they did to me. Look what they drove me to. This is what you guys do. Any Eagles players watching, any team, coach, this is what you do.
Yep, the beard was growing for the Super Bowl, but now it's gone.
It was growing until February. I was going to let it all go until we won.
Happened last year, too.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. I had to shave it all off. Not a bet. It's funny. I had people asking, like, was it a bet you lost? No, it was time. It was time.
How to get rid of that hair?
The beard's normal. The beard I'll shave randomly out of nowhere, but I've never done this to the head. This is the shortest I've ever had my hair in my life. Well, since, forever ago. But
it's a round head.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a nice little 8-ball. Looking like Big Dom.
Blue-eyed billiard ball.
Looking like Big Dom out there. All righty. We're coming at you right before the second week of the playoffs, the divisional round coming up tomorrow, and today for those that are watching. But starting off at 2:30 tomorrow, we got the Texans and Ravens. Then we got the Packers and the Niners in the night. And then Sunday, we're looking at Tampa Bay, boo, and Detroit, woo. And looking at 1 o'clock for us here out in the Springs, and then the Chiefs and Bills at 4:30 in the afternoon or at night, wherever you're watching. But starting off with Houston and Baltimore, Dad, what's your thoughts here? Give me not just a prediction. You can give me a prediction at the end, but give me an all around.
Well, the hard thing is that they were off last week. I think the last week of the season they looked pretty good, but they weren't starting all the guys.
Now, who were you talking about?
Baltimore.
Okay,
I think they ended up losing that last game of the season.
Yeah, the Steelers.
Good they played,
but they played the Steelers. They played their backups. Yeah,
but Houston's good. They've got some the QB's looking good. The team is looking good. So this is one of those things that can happen. During playoff season. So team hasn't played. The other team that has played has looked good and has been getting better, a.k.a. the Packers. The same thing. So but I don't think the Texans will be much trouble for the Baltimore Ravens. But here's the thing: I was talking to my wife earlier, and I said, in the years past, they've been up one of the top teams and then folded early on.
Yeah.
So
they've done it before.
It's definitely can happen. So but I still look for Baltimore to pretty much win pretty easily.
I expect it as well. Yeah, it's funny because these quarterbacks are very two different types of styles of quarterback, but their statistics are surprisingly very similar. C.J. Stroud 4,100 passing yards, Lamar only 3,600, so pretty big difference there. But 23 passing touchdowns for Stroud, only 5 picks. 24 touchdown passes for Lamar, only 7 picks. Now I know Lamar probably got more on the ground that I don't have here, but sure. QB rating, which, as you know, means nothing to us. We hate the QB rating statistic. But C.J. Stroud in the season, 100.8 QB rating, and Lamar, 102.7. So very evenly, I don't want to say evenly matched because, I do think Lamar's better at this point in his career.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
However, I do see Stroud being really great. But very similar match statistically wise this season.
He's a true rookie, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so, that's huge to be where he's at now, playing with house money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nothing much else there, really. They've got good weapons on both sides. It's kind of funny. No one has I can't say they weren't stars yet because, they'll be stars and they kind of maybe will become them in the playoffs. But neither team really has stars aside from the quarterback position. Right. Running back-wise, Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards on the other side. Wide receiver-wise, Nico Collins on Houston, Zay Flowers on the.
Yeah, Collins exploded.
Yeah. But even then, they've had really great seasons, and Likely's had a great season, and Dalton Schultz had a great season. But there's no all-around stars on the skill positions aside from Lamar and Stroud, really. So it's a really interesting teams that way because there's just not it's solid teams with no everyone's an all-pro. You know what I mean? Right. And it's funny because there's teams that have a bunch of all-pros, Dallas, Niners, Eagles, but the Niners are still going. But, sure. We had a bunch of all-pros, Pro Bowlers, and then, boom, knock them out early. It's kind of funny how it is.
It just shows you it's a team game.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. So I do have a weather report there for the Baltimore game. They had a lot of snow yesterday up and down the coast there. Philly got some snow. Up in New York got some snow. Baltimore, 27 degrees, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds. It might be nasty because you never know if they're getting gusts and it's 27 degrees. The field could be about 20 degrees. So it's probably still going to be damp because the temperature, all that snow they had. So it might be affect the game a little bit.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Packers are going going over to San Francisco to play the 49ers. What you got weather there? I'll ask you that.
So there we got rain, about 90% chance of rain in the 49ers game, 53 degrees and 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. So again, the winds can gust there. They're down in the coast there off the California coast. So, I don't think it's going to make a big difference for either team, but the Packers are going to need some better conditions because they're a passing team. If he gets some time, I think, that's the big thing about the Pack, the way they looked last week with the young receivers and the quarterback playing well. Of course, again, San Francisco didn't play last week, and they didn't play their starters the week before. So now you're looking at 3 weeks off.
It's true.
So, we'll know if it's either an up or down. We always talk about that throughout the season. Do you want to rest your players? Do you not want to rest your players?
Yeah.
So obviously we needed that rest, because we're an old team.
Clearly.
They're not an older team like we are. They have a few linemen that are old, but other than that, they should be fine.
A similar thing here as the Baltimore and Houston one. Quarterback statistics, not similar quarterbacks really in any way, but very similar statistics. Jordan Love, 4,100 passing yards. Brock Purdy, 4,200. Jordan Love, 32 passing touchdowns against 11 picks. Brock Purdy, 31 passing touchdowns against 11 picks. Wow. Almost identical stats. Big difference there is the QB rating. Brock Purdy has a much higher QB rating, mostly because Brock Purdy threw the ball 130 times less than Love did. So big deal there with that completion percentage. But Love really turned it on second half of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And last week it was unbelievable.
Yeah, Purdy's a pocket passer. He doesn't run that much.
Yeah.
I think Love's the same way, though. He doesn't run much either.
I mean, they're both that type of quarterback who they're not – they just have escapability.
Right, that's big enough.
It's kind of like, I would say, I don't want to compare anyone to people, but similar to Rodgers in a way, where he was a pocket quarterback, but he had escapability, very much so.
I would say,
he's not as fast as, of course, a Lamar or a Hurts or even Mahomes even, but that escapability is there.
That's a big piece. Yeah, because the defenses are both pretty good as far as rushing and ends and things like that.
Absolutely. Running back wise, Aaron Jones, he had a really rough season. Injuries a lot, I know, because I had him in fantasy and I had to cut him. But in the last few weeks, he's turned it on. Last week, especially, Christian McCaffrey, of course, is the best running back in the league. So pretty
probably the MVP.
Probably should have been the MVP. Yeah. I feel like that's the bummer about they sat him out. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird how it works, but McCaffrey definitely the best running back in the league, 5.3 average. Aaron Jones 4.6 average. The really good running backs on both sides. Similar running backs, they run hard. It's not an easy tackle. They make you work to tackle them. Receiving wise, I think San Fran has possibly the best receiving core in the league, but I don't know. It's kind of weird because I think Ayuk is great receiver. Debo is more so of tool. He can be kind of used anywhere. He's just fast.
Big TDs.
The thing about Debo is I think people run the 40 time. They run the 40 and he's the fastest guy or he's the fastest guy. But they don't talk about football speed and how when the ball's in their hand and the adrenaline's pumping, it's different. I believe Debo Samuel is the fastest player in the league when the football's in his hand.
For sure.
I don't think anyone's better with the football in his hand. The moment he has it, unless a guy's on top of him, it's scary.
Yeah, he breaks tackles. He's really a running back.
Unless the guy's already tackling him while he's catching the ball, he's got a great ability to get away. They have that great, of course, the top 3 tight end. He's not 3 in George Kittle. Yeah, he's amazing.
He's great. But that's the thing with them. They've got the back, they've got the tight end, and they have 1 or 2 of the wide receivers. True. That's what you need. You got to have the versatility. Certain teams that we talk about all the time, they have 1 here or 1 here, but maybe not 1 there. You need them all so you can use the ball and spread it around, and that's what they do. And that's an offense coordinator. They have a great offense coordinator. They make the right calls. They're just a damn good team.
I got no hair cushioning. My headphones starting to hit me a little bit.
Stick some Velcro in your head. But so now the Packers, of course, they've got the defense has gotten better, I think, and that's the thing you need to do in the playoffs in the NFL. You got to get better every week. Yes. And you got to have from the time December 1st comes, you got to get that upward trajectory. Thank you. That we talk about all the time, and watching the Packers, even last week and the prior weeks, I said, man, they just keep getting better and better. Yeah. And last week they were incredible. Their defense was great. So I'm hoping for a good game. I don't think it's going to be much of a game, but I'm going go Pack go. I'm kind of on that bandwagon. Of course, at this time of the season, we just want to see a good game.
Yeah.
I don't
want the Niners to lose.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's funny. The season's over. Who cares, right? Yeah. I mean, we beat them last year in the NFC Championship game. Let me say that one more time. We beat them last year in the NFC Championship game, 31-87. Something like that. 7. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a destruction, but we'll see what Purdy can do this year. Yeah. He had a phenomenal season, which I did not think he was going to do. The team just got better, and this is how it works in the NFL. You keep working until you get there. Yeah. So, I'm not really voting against. I'm not really going against anybody this week.
I am.
I would just like some good football. Well, Tampa Bay, that's a different story because they knocked us out of the playoffs. But that would have went with any team we played. So
it's funny because we talked about it earlier this year. I feel like it felt like any time a person had a front runner in the MVP, they lost it immediately the next week.
It's funny.
It happened with Hurts when he was the front runner after Buffalo, and then he played San Fran and Dallas and got destroyed.
Yep.
And then it was Purdy, and he was leading it, and then he played the Baltimore and threw 4 picks.
Right.
And then Dak, he was leading, and then he went to Buffalo and threw 2 or 3 picks.
Right.
And then Lamar, even he wasn't. At one point it was like, well, Lamar is just kind of. He just hasn't had a terrible game, so we have to give it to him.
And that's
when it really should have gone.
That's the other thing, as the season's going on, you and I, of course, we're such Eagles fans. We're just cheering against players to not get that MVP. But after you sit back and you watch and say, "Wow, he's played phenomenally," so you have to say that they've got a lot of the MVP are playing this weekend. A lot of the people in the MVP race. So.
Let's go ahead and jump over to Sunday's games. We got Tampa Bay. They are going up to Detroit to play against the Lions. Very similar thing here as well. It's kind of funny. Statistical-wise, I don't know. Statistic-wise, I don't know as far as there's a difference between statistics and the eye test, of course.
Sure.
But Baker Mayfield, he had 4,000 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. That's darn good.
It's great for him. Good for him.
Yeah. And then Jared Goff, 4,500 yards, 30 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Yeah. I know for both of them, at some point throughout the season, they struggle with turnovers.
Yeah.
But, they're both quarterbacks who have very high highs. Last week with Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
Last week, even, Jared Goff, but then there's also you go to the Chicago game when Jared Goff threw 3 picks. They ended up winning that game, but he threw 3 interceptions, cost me a game in my fantasy. And then Baker Mayfield, he's had his fair share of games where he's thrown a few picks, had a few turnovers.
Yeah. So the funny thing about Detroit is those weeks that we had the Sunday night game or the Monday night game, and I actually watched Detroit. They never really impressed me that much, and I was a bummer because I always pick other teams. When we're not playing, and I'd like to see them this year. And Detroit was one of those teams that I was kind of pulling for there in the back and hoping that they do well. And I know last year they didn't make the playoffs, but they were moving up, and you kind of go, okay, let's keep an eye on them. And they're enjoyable when they're playing their game. They got some great talent. Help me with his name, Amon St. Brown.
Oh, Amon-Ra.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to get to him.
They've got great deep running backs with Gibbs and. The other kid, too.
David Montgomery.
Yeah, so, they're fun to watch. So I'm hoping that game is a good game to watch. Of course, my heart's with Detroit because Tampa Bay made us look bad. And, I think they're kind of a fraud as far as in the playoffs. But, hey, you never know. If they upset and play. But
Green Bay was, too.
It's true. It's true. And their defense is pretty good. I don't think their defense is that great.
It's actually not that great.
Detroit's got some great defensive ends. And if you like sacks, you like that game.
It's funny because I thought their defense was better until I looked at their rankings.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
You mean Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit.
Okay.
I really thought their defense was a lot better. They're second against the rush, so they are really good against the run. But everything else, they're either third, top 10 in third down percentage. They're 10th. Everything else is in the 20s. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that, but not very similar rushers. The Tampa Bay really leans on Rachaad White, who a lot of people. He had a pretty darn good season. 990 yards, 6 touchdowns. But it's funny because to me and you, 1,000 yards really doesn't mean anything anymore.
You need 1,400 to be
1,200. I'm gonna go 1,200. Okay. 14 is too much, but
even per game, if you go 1,200, that's about 75 yards a game.
Yeah, that's good.
It is, but to be a top echelon.
Top echelon. Yeah, you're good. 14.
Close. Yeah.
But David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they kind of split the runs, split the rushes over in in Detroit. So David Montgomery had 1,015 yards. I don't know exactly what Jahmyr Gibbs had, but I can't imagine he had much less. 945.
Right.
So I mean,
he gets a lot of receiving yards too.
So David Montgomery had 72 yards a game. Gibbs had 63 yards a game. Wow. I mean, they only both had 2 fumbles. The total together, they rushed for 23 touchdowns. So really good running back duo there. Receiver wise, kind of similar, not similar receivers, but similar situation.
Right.
In Tampa Bay, you got all-time great Mike Evans, Hall of Famer.
Definitely.
You got a really solid number 2 in Chris Godwin.
Oh yeah.
He's good. He's not all time, but he's good. He's really good.
Definitely part of their team.
He had over 1,000 receiving yards this year, which is good.
2 guys, yeah.
Over in Detroit, so they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, who had 1,500 yards.
Amazing.
And then they've got Josh Reynolds, who only had 600 yards. He wasn't incredible, but he kind of had a big game last week.
Sure.
Did pretty darn good. And they've also got a tight end that's tops Tampa Bay. They got Sam Laporta, who had almost 900 yards. He was, I believe, a Pro Bowler as a rookie.
That's pretty good.
He did pretty darn good. And
you get 900 for a tight end. I mean,
oh yeah, well, especially as a rookie, tight ends, they grow and they prosper. And after 2 years, tight ends aren't usually amazing right when they start.
Right.
George Kittle, I think he had like 700 yards his rookie year. They're good. It's really good.
Right.
But they don't really. They kind of have to grow because early on, you're kind of splitting time with another guy. You're focusing on blocking more.
Sure.
And then, the next year you explode. But Sam Laporta, he exploded pretty quick. 10 receiving touchdowns for him. He was phenomenal this season. 20 receiving touchdowns for him and Amon-Ra combined. So pretty similar receiving situations except for the tight ends. But I'm going with Detroit. We'll give our score predictions after this. We'll figure out score predictions.
Sure.
Going in there with the Chiefs and Bills game, the 4:30 game at night on Sunday. This is kind of the one probably people are most looking forward to. I believe these guys going against each other are 3-3. I might be wrong there. No, sorry.
Okay.
I
was thinking about that.
Sorry, I'm thinking Mahomes and Allen.
Right.
Mahomes and Allen are 3-3 against each other, I'm pretty sure. Mahomes has kind of won the fair share of the playoff battles. Of course, the incredible one a few years ago. That was the AFC Championship game or the Divisional?
Yes, it was. No, that was.
So, they
13 seconds.
Unbelievable.
Was
that the AFC Championship or was it Divisional?
You know what? I don't know.
I don't know.
They shouldn't have won that game.
That was incredible. It was incredible.
Buffalo scored. And, like you're thinking, there's no way now. There's no way. And it's just unbelievable.
It shouldn't seem.
Take them timeouts.
It shouldn't be possible.
Got to have timeouts.
Yeah, it shouldn't be possible.
I agree.
It's pretty incredible. But, so, this is a big one people are looking forward to, especially because, Buffalo won earlier this year. They kind of went in a controversial way. People were, the lined up offsides thing, and he was offsides, but, whatever.
For sure he was.
But that whole thing. So, a lot going on there. So what are you thinking about this game? What's your overview?
Well, I think the weather might play a role. They had the big snowstorm up there in Buffalo, as you know, right? They're still digging out from 5 feet of snow. It's going to be 27 degrees, 12 miles per hour wind. I don't believe there's any snow in the forecast, though, so that's not going to make it. They're both cold weather city teams. I think with the quarterback from Buffalo being able to run when he can, I think that might be a difference because I don't think Kansas City has the running game. Pacheco hasn't really been that great recently. I think Buffalo has a pretty tough defense as well as far as the line goes, and some of their linebackers are good. And I think Kansas City might be tired. I don't know. I just think Buffalo's going to beat them up pretty good. But I know you feel the opposite, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the Bills because I'm sorry, Lane, my buddy who's a Chiefs fan.
Right.
Obviously, I don't like the Chiefs. I can't like the Chiefs. Does anyone remember what happened a year ago?
Yes.
I obviously can't cheer for this team. Going into it, they haven't had the most similar stat line, but it's not far off. Mahomes, 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 picks. Allen, 4,300 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 18 picks.
He's always throwing picks.
Yeah, Josh Allen, that's the big thing about him.
Not in the red zone like he did in the years past. Remember a couple of years?
Last year was a joke. He was throwing picks.
But, for Mahomes, 27 and 14? He's always 39, 44. So that's really incredible that he did not put up bigger numbers this year. And it might show you something. Maybe that's, when you start paying a quarterback, you can't play the other players, and you can't stay at the top too long. So I don't know. I just think Buffalo, it's their time. I'm hoping, I feel for the fans. They've had
it's similar to the Detroit thing.
It's been 30 years since they won a playoff game.
Well, I mean, the Bills have won some playoff games recently.
Oh, no, they have.
It's not the same.
Theirs is, they just can't get
over the hump.
No, not even close.
They both have really good running backs. I don't think the numbers really show for these players. Pacheco, 935 yards, 4.5 average, 7 touchdowns. James Cook, I think he's great, the running back for the Bills. Only 1,100 yards, 4.7 average, only 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, I know
that is weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I know he definitely caught some through the air, so he got 4 through the air, but had only 2 rushing, which is kind of funny because you expect some more out of that.
Right.
Big surprise here, and I know we already knew this, so it's not like a surprise, but Travis Kelce did not get 1,000 yards this year, only 984. Now, I know he had some injuries a little bit there. He played 15 games, so he missed 2 games. I mean,
you know what else he had this year?
Drops. Yes. Oh, yeah. He had 7 drops.
But that was just last game, right? No, really. He had a boatload in that game. 3 or 4.
I mean, yeah, it's true.
That was bad.
That's a playoff game, so we'd have to see his playoff stats.
Yeah, that was bad. But, I mean, he's great.
He had 1 fumble, which was against us.
Beautiful. Inside the 20.
That's right.
Maybe inside the 15.
But he's always great. You can never look down on him. He had 5 touchdowns this season. Again, very low. Stephon Diggs was the leading receiver for the Bills. 107 receptions, 1,183 yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. Now, in total, they had Gabe Davis, who had 746 yards.
He's good, too. He's fast.
They've got a good tight end in Dalton Kincaid, and then Dawson Knox. I think Dalton Kincaid's a rookie, too. And then over in Kansas City, they got Rashee Rice, who had 938 yards. He's great. He's definitely a rookie. Yeah. And then Justin Watson, their other receiver, who's another dropper. He gets drops a lot. And then, of course, Valdez Scantling. And
we know his drops.
Oh, yeah, man. We know
he had one good drop in that one game.
Great drop, of course. Of course, that set us on a losing streak.
Wide open.
I know, true. I know. No, I get you. But, yeah, some good games to look forward to this week. Give me your Texans-Ravens score prediction. We did not write these down ahead of time.
I just did.
Okay, gotcha.
So I got Baltimore 31, Texans 10.
Okay.
I think that's probably one of the biggest of the 4 games.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that one would probably be the biggest one for me as well. So let's say, who do you? We're going to do it 2 ways. You expect the Ravens to win. Who do you want to win?
I want the Ravens to win.
Oh,
yeah. It's not like I'll watch the Texans. It's funny. A lot of people. I just want to see a good game. No, I usually have a team that I want to win. Yeah. If the Texans were to do well, I'd enjoy it. But I think it's time. Baltimore's been good.
Okay.
I think it's just time.
Good.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm not a Harbaugh guy, but we'll see. I want the Texans to win. I don't believe they will. I'm going 30-17 Ravens.
Okay.
30-17 Ravens. Give me your Niners-Packers.
Niners-Packers.
I want to win.
Well, I do not want the 49ers to win. But I don't want to make any of their fans get upset because they've got a kind of thin skin. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They came after us after we did our podcast for their game, and boy, they continued the whole year. They kept coming back and kept coming back. So I believe the 49ers are going to win the game. If the Packers do win, I will run outside with my shirt off in this 8-degree weather. How's that sound? Yeah. I think it's going to be 49ers 24, Packers 14, possibly Packers 17 or 21. I think they're going to score some points, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang with the 49ers. Yeah. They're just too good.
Obviously, like you, I would want the Packers to win, but I think the Niners have it 37-17.
Wow.
That's going to be my thought there. Tampa Bay and Detroit. I know who you want to win this one, but go ahead and say it.
Yes, I'd like Detroit to win this game. I don't want to see Tampa Bay win. They won a Super Bowl a couple years ago, and it's one of those Super Bowls that no one even remembers.
Isn't that funny? Except Lane remembers.
Well,
because the Chiefs lost.
Well, it was Brady. Brady won the Super Bowl in one of those years, the COVID year. Bad year for football. Super Bowl wasn't very good to watch. Just everything about it. But they did win their second Super Bowl, so they've got 2. It's good for them. Detroit 35, Tampa Bay 10. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to think Detroit's going to sack Baker at least 6 times.
Okay.
I'm going to put that down there, 6 sacks.
Cool. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I obviously, of course, also want Detroit to win. I've always liked Detroit. I now don't like Tampa even more. I'm going to go Detroit 27, Tampa Bay 10.
Okay.
No, 13. They're going to get another field goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go 27-13.
Okay.
I like the sevens. I'm a big sevens guy with numbers, with scores. Going over to the Bills Chiefs, who do you want to win?
Okay, well, I want Buffalo to win that game. I did not put a score down, though, even while you were talking. So I'm going to go Buffalo 28, Kansas City 23.
Yeah. Now, this is the sad one for me. I do want the Bills to win, but it just doesn't feel like it was going to happen. The Chiefs they're one of those teams, same way as like Tampa was back in 2020. They get into the playoffs. No, it's not really that good. No one's that scared of them. They've got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Like at any time, it can be turned around. Now I know guys are dropping the balls a lot, but I really think any time can be turned around. So I want the Bills to win, but I'm going Chiefs, I think, and I'm going a closer one here. And I'm going a high-scoring game. I think it's 36-30.
Wow. So now remember, Kansas City, even though he had a bad year, Mahomes didn't look good in several games. Last week they looked great, and Mahomes looked great, and they played at home in 6 degrees or 522, whatever it was, and he destroyed. So he's one of the players when the bright lights are on. It gets better. Yeah. Unlike we've seen a lot of the other players this year that the lights come on, they might have a great season, but once they get in the playoffs, they just fall apart.
And the Eagles team.
And it's unfortunate, but that's when you do it once, it's okay. You do it a couple times. I mean, you can't really ping on Hurts because he did great in the Super Bowl, but I mean, when the lights come on and you fold like that, it just shows what your real character's made of. So and Mahomes definitely shines when the lights are on.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over into just a little fun segment that I kind of came up with. And it's not even really a segment. It's just going to be former Philadelphia Eagles who are still left in the playoffs. Now, I didn't do a ton of research into this, so I'm sure there's some guys who were on our practice squad, who were on the team for 2 weeks.
The holder.
Exactly. I just, I might be wrong. I just went with, I pulled up the roster for each team, went down, and if I saw a name that snapped at me, I wrote it down. So I'm probably going to be missing some. It's okay.
Still interesting to see who's still alive.
Exactly. All right, so former Eagles players still left in the playoffs, starting off with the Houston Texans. Big one, D'Amico Ryans. The head coach for the Texans, played linebacker for the Eagles, of course. Derek Barnett, defensive end for the Eagles at one point. Now he's in Houston, and he's doing amazing.
He's got a few sacks, 2.5 sacks.
Very frustrating, very frustrating. Steven Nelson, former Eagles cornerback, playing for Houston again. Still, this is all Houston, I should just say.
Right.
He had a pick six last week, and it was funny. Let me just point this out. When the Houston was playing Cleveland, Derek Barnett had a pressure that forced Joe Flacco to throw an interception. It was a pick six to Steven Nelson.
Yes.
All three of those are former Eagles.
Right. Yeah. Flacco played a little bit.
He's on for a few weeks.
But Barnett, who couldn't get a quarterback sack if there was no offensive lineman for us the entire season.
Yeah, turned it on.
And he looks good there. So good for him, I guess.
Yeah. And then the greatest Eagles punter in Eagles history, Cameron Johnson. He's on Houston, of course, as well. Going over to the Ravens, they've got Nelson Aguilar, former Super Bowl winning wide receiver, former first-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Ronald Darby, also former Super Bowl winner for the Philadelphia Eagles, playing cornerback still in this league. We have no players on the Packers, no former players on the Packers, but just some players of note. John Runyon Jr. plays there. He plays guard. I don't know if he's still a starting lineup. I'd have to check.
No, I saw him. He was in there in the game last week. I looked for him. I saw his name on there, and I'm like, he's a guard, not a tackle like his father, but
he plays left.
A player.
I think he plays left guard. He was a Michigan guy too, I think.
Oh, sure, yes. So I remember when he was signed, when he was like, he was the same age as you. Remember? I remember he got a contract, or he got. What do you call it?
He was scouted.
He signed with Michigan when he was like in 10th grade. And you were like in 10th or 11th. I can't remember. Yeah, I remember you were like, wow, man, this guy's already signed.
He's born in 97. He's a little bit less than
younger, right?
He's a little bit less than
a year older, sorry,
than me. So kind of funny, yeah. And then, of course, also on the Packers is backup quarterback Sean Clifford. He used to play for Penn State. Another player of note, no Eagles player.
Can't throw the ball, he can run.
No. Yeah. Over on the Niners, they got Matt Pryor, former offensive lineman for the Birds. I think he was a 6th-round pick for us.
For years, man.
We did. He played well at times. He did. Javon Hargrave as well, the big one, big name there.
Our big compensatory pick for this year's draft.
Yeah. Defensive tackle playing for the Niners, used to be an Eagle and was a Super Bowl attendant.
I think we talked about how many sacks did he have this year?
11.
That many this year?
That sounds like a lot. You're right.
Maybe I know we had 11 with us last year, and then we lost him, but I don't think he had
have like 9
as big a year.
I think he had.
When we talked about it,
He only had 7.
that's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't as many. I remember
Wow. I thought he had way more than that. 7.
Well, he's a great player.
Well, no, he's still. Yeah, he's.
They got the sack attacks on the outsides up there.
Yeah.
49ers.
Sometimes you can't get the sacks because every guys are getting there first. The Lions, they've got Nate Sudfeld. Now he's on IR, so he's not actually playing, but former Eagles Super Bowl winning quarterback, as I might say. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is playing over there right now as well. And then former Super Bowl winning starting left tackle in the Super Bowl, Halapuli Vaitai.
Right, nice.
He is a guard now, I think, for them, but he's also injured, so I don't think he's actually
out
playing.
for half the season at least.
He's had some injuries ever since he went to Detroit. It's a bummer.
I mean, that was another one that Stoutland developed into a heck of a player. You know, he took over for Peters when he blew his knee out.
Oh, yeah.
The Skins early on in the Super Bowl year.
Early, yeah.
Game 3 or 4, I forget.
No, 8, 6, 7.
Was it that many?
Yeah, it was late. It was
Get that wrong.
6, 7, 8. It was pretty late. But yeah, that was a bummer because Peters was at the time he was still top 3, top 2 left tackle, and Vaitai came in and he had some early growing pains, but in the Super Bowl they lined up James Harrison over him and nothing happened. He didn't let anything happen.
No, he was great in that game.
He was great. Chiefs, they've got backup quarterback Ian Book. We had him for like 2 years out of, I think he was out of New Orleans for a bit. He played for Notre Dame. He was on the Saints for a little bit.
So, and then, side note there, Ian Book is the one that Rube said is going to be a great coach.
Oh, he thinks he's going to be a great coach.
Yeah, he just said he's such an intelligent player. He never did anything for us. Of course, he hadn't even gotten a game, but he had talked about him probably a year or two ago on one of his podcasts, and he mentioned, he's going to be a great coach. And, Dave was like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's super smart. So.
And then former Eagles 6th round pick, Prince Tega Winogo. He is a tackle for the Chiefs. Again, not a starter. He's also been plagued with injuries in his career. That was kind of what made him drop in the draft. Yeah. He was kind of projected as a first-round pick, and then bad injuries kind of dropped him low.
We had high hopes for him when we first got him.
Yeah.
He was from, Auburn?
Yes, correct.
And then we had the other
Driscoll
kid, right? The other tackle.
Him and Driscoll in the same
same
draft.
And we looked at it and said, "Hey, man, Auburn." But it's funny because that's when we started drafting players from Alabama and Auburn. You're like, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Georgia, and quit getting a guy from UCF or something. Get the guy that's played on TV in the big games.
That's right. Yeah.
Not that those UCF players can't make it.
No, of course. But I know what you mean. Well, here's the thing: when you have a 5th round pick and you need an offensive lineman, where do you go?
Right.
You go,
I agree.
Hey, who's the right tackle for Alabama?
Right.
Has he been drafted? Oh, he hasn't?
Yeah.
Well, he was playing for Alabama.
Yeah, for 4 years.
Maybe he's not going to be all pro, but he's going to be something. He knows how to play football.
He's played against some of the better teams.
That's the thing. He played
for
against
4 years or 2 years or whatever.
He's played against Chase Young. He's played against the defensive end. Stuff like that. Yeah, of course. Going over to the Bills, they got Russell Douglas, former Eagles Super Bowl winning cornerback. And then they also got safety Jordan Poyer, former Eagles 6th round pick. 7th round, undrafted?
I don't even know if he played for us. Did he ever?
No, of course. Yeah, he played for us. He just didn't log. It's funny because we had him for 2-3 years? And it's a bummer because it's one of those players that you can't.
We waited, but not long enough.
Yeah. Oh, no, he was only with us for 2013.
I didn't think so. Yeah, I was going to say, is it got the little asterisk next to it for practice squad?
He was on the team.
Yeah.
He did play a little bit. I don't know how.
I bet you have to go to 2013 and I'll tell you what game, if he did anything. But I don't know.
He recorded 3 tackles in his first game with us.
Okay. So he's a defensive lineman then, right?
No.
I know, I'm kidding. He's 3 tackles and he's a DB.
Jesus.
Goodness
gracious. Safety, that's good. You don't want your tackles.
I know.
That was back when we had the best running defense in the league, though.
Yeah.
2013.
I know.
Oh, man, that was back when Fletch was, that was I think we had Cedric Thornton back then. Oh, my gosh, that was Benny Logan. Oh, that was a great, that was a great run defense. Oh, my gosh, I think D'Amico Ryans was still there. Incredible.
I forget what year we got him.
But Jordan Poyer. It's funny. He's become one of the better safeties in the league
for years now.
But it's a bummer. Yeah, we couldn't hold on to him, and that's the thing that's hard about football is you draft this guy and it doesn't work out right away. And then 6 years later, he's still playing, and he's Eric Rowe is still in the league.
Yeah.
That makes me so mad.
When he left us,
we got
rid of him. He played great for the Packers for a couple seasons.
Yeah, he became Pickmeister number 5. He's getting 7 picks in a year.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was a bummer. It's just funny. You can't keep everyone, and then they go somewhere and they make a name, and you're like, oh, dang it, like you can't keep them. Like we couldn't wait. You can't just wait.
No, you can't. I mean,
Eric Rowe is still in the league. That makes me so mad.
Got rid of him after the Super Bowl. And he played.
Basil?
No, Rowe.
No, Rowe was not.
He played before, right?
No, Rowe was on the Patriots when we beat them.
Yes, yes. He was on the team with us the year before, right?
No, he was on the Patriots the year before when they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny, right?
He got burned when he played us in the Super Bowl.
Yes, Alshon got him pretty good. But other than that, you got anything else on football? I'm going to jump over to other news. But
not really. Just looking forward to a good weekend of some good playoff football. Again, no stress. My team's not in it, so I'm able to play that. Devil's advocate and cheer against players and teams I want to see leave the stadium with their heads hung low. But, I'm looking for a good weekend of football.
So in other news and other sports, the 76ers, they're now 27-13. They've won 4 straight games. They won tonight against the Orlando Magic, 124-109. Embiid dropping, I believe I said 36, Maxey 32. Good thing was that the other night I watched some of the game. I couldn't catch all of it, but the Sixers beat the Nuggets, which was great. In Philly, big, MVP face-off.
Right.
Embiid,
Nuggets
won
it last year.
Course, yeah. And Embiid dropped 41, Maxey 25, Tobias Harris 24, and Jokic 25 points. It was just a nice, big, really good game, kind of game of the year. Was a contender. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they really do that in NBA. There's too many games.
Right.
But probably one of the game of the year contenders. They're looking good, 27-13, like I said. Flyers had a great win against the Stars last night, won 5-1. That sets them on 5 straight. I don't like the Stars, of course. They play for Dallas, and any team that's based in Dallas, I like to see lose. I like to see them lose, just so that, I don't know, because part of you's like, I want Dallas fans to be sad, but Dallas Cowboys fans aren't fans of Mavericks. They've got
another hockey team and another.
Yeah, they're Yankees
Canada
fans.
Or Montreal Canadians or
they're
something.
Yankees fans and they're Lakers fans and Celtics fans, stuff like that. But Flyers are 25-14-6 now, still holding
pretty good. Going up.
Yeah, they're still second in the Eastern Metro, so looking pretty darn good right now.
What do they call their division?
Metropolitan.
Okay, it used to be the Patrick division when I was a kid. I don't know what that even means.
Yeah.
They had all these names for things.
It is Atlantic, Metropolitan, and then in the West it's Central and Pacific.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Understood it. Even a point system I didn't get.
The Flyers have.
I played a lot of hockey, but I never watched.
The Flyers have 56 points. Yay! I don't understand it really much either, but that's okay. They're looking good though. But other than that, you got anything else for me?
Not really. No.
Maybe next week we'll be back with a Philly sports hating list.
Sounds good.
Athletes we hate the most. That are probably the most hated in Philly.
Yeah,
we could try that.
That broke. We got some comments from some of our fans out there that comment a lot, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. Now, if you're an Eagles fan or any other NFL watching, go ahead and comment below your predictions for this week, or tell us who you want to win, who you want to lose, who you'd like to see do good, who you'd like to see do bad. We'd like to see some comments, and we'll comment back with you and have some discussions.
Always comment back.
That's right.
Some good commenters out there.
Yeah. But other than that, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor. Rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We are also asking you to please subscribe on YouTube, because if you're watching on YouTube, we want you to like and subscribe. We're at 99 subscribers right now. We're getting so close to that 100.
We want 100.
We're really excited to get to 100. We want to get there before the end of the NFL season. I think that'd be really fun.
Who's it going to be?
Who's it going to be? Who's going to be number 100? But other than that, comment below your predictions, like I said before. And if you want to email us at all, any questions or comments, you can email us at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles fly.